Let's talk about how to help that copywriting client that doesn't know what they need. This happens sometimes. Hey, I'm Sarah Turner. I'm a freelance copywriter and copywriting mentor. I want to talk to you about these clients because every now and then you'll hop on that discovery call with a new client and you'll start talking with them and you'll realize they have no idea what they want. And generally, I found that this breaks down into 3 different situations. So the first one usually is that they're just not that familiar with marketing. And so this is the time where you really need to maybe pull back on marketing jargon, really take the time to graciously explain things, breaking it down piece by piece by piece. And also asking them about their business. Putting the focus back on them and what their ultimate goals are is going to help you gain more clarity, because it's very different if a client wants to, start and grow an e-commerce store, or if they'd like to book more speaking engagements. Those are going to be 2 different strategies, right? And they're going to inform what you will recommend as a copywriter. So that's generally the one that I see the most often, is that they kind of know that marketing is important, but they don't generally understand how different things work together. So it's really up to you to explain the value of different types of copy, whether it be landing pages or emails, and also making sure that you don't overwhelm them with too many recommendations. For example, with a client like this who's maybe just interested in growing their online presence so that they will hopefully book more clients, I'll generally talk them through having a long-term strategy, which includes optimizing their website for SEO, having an SEO blog that's optimized, and creating opt-ins so that they can start to build their email list. But I always remind them that this is an ongoing process and that we will be doing this and growing this together, so they don't need to worry or stress too much about having everything done overnight. So I just kind of start from the basics. Website is generally where I start unless they already have a kick-ass website. So really take the time to just focus on what is it that they're trying to achieve and what are their ultimate goals. And make sure that they're not kind of chasing things just because somebody told them it was important. If that is what is going on, take the time to really explain to them why what you're recommending is important. And really, truly try to hold back on the marketing jargon. I can tell you, even when I'm on the phone with other marketers and they are just like laying on the marketing jargon thick, it can be a source of just kind of separating yourself from your client. Sometimes people do it to feel like an authority or super credible, but really it just makes it harder for them to understand what you're trying to say. So really simplify it, really make it easy and accessible. Sometimes you'll come across a client who's undecided based maybe out of fear or like they're going to pick the wrong course of action. And I always remind people that marketing is experimental and it's ongoing and it's always going to change. Just think about all the different platforms that have come and gone and the different strategies that people have used. Things are always changing in marketing, and to have that kind of mindset around it is often really helpful for my clients. Like, there generally in marketing is no right or wrong way to do something. There's just better ways. So one thing I do is I always reassure them of that. It's also, I think, important to make sure that you check in with them and see what they've done in the past, because sometimes you'll uncover that they've had a bad experience. And if they've had a bad experience with another marketer, another copywriter, that is so helpful for you to know when you're talking with them, because it might be the reason they're digging their heels in. It might be the reason that they seem reluctant or unsure, and it just means that you really need to double down on explaining the return on investment value of whatever it is that you're recommending. Explaining why landing pages are popular or effective rather, and explaining how you are going to make it an effective choice to actually help their business grow. So taking the time to explain why and how a piece of marketing copy fits into the bigger picture can go a long way here. You can also lean on the success stories you've had with previous clients and say, I always make sure that I say that, nothing is guaranteed, but let me tell you some of the experiences that I've had with previous clients. And generally that will really help them see how it can kind of fit, all of the things that you're recommending can kind of fit into the big picture. It's really common, unfortunately, for people to have had bad experiences with freelancers, which is why I harp so hard on making sure you show up as a business owner and you're not one of those typical needy, flaky freelancers. We are not about that. Another kind of client that I've come across before where they are reluctant to make a decision or they seem unsure of what they want, these are the people who are just so stretched on time. And so sometimes what we need to do to really help them is to help free up their time, make things easier for them. So for example, with clients like this, I would never send them some sort of questionnaire or something like that to where they have to do more work to help me do my work. I will make my best guess and help them have as much information in front of them as possible, maybe providing my copy to them with all my questions in the actual doc itself, rather than separately emailing them questions. That way, when they are sitting down, focusing on what it is that they have to work on with you, they have all those questions right in front of them. It saves them time and it's a lot easier for them. The other thing is I get really short and concise with my emails. I have one client in particular that comes to mind about who is like this. She is so stretched on time constantly. So my emails to her when I submit a piece of copy are 1 sentence long. And I put everything else inside the actual doc itself because I know that when she opens an email that is just a wall of text going over why I did this or why I did that, it's not helpful for her. The other thing that I've done to implement that has helped her is actually allowing her to send me voice memos. Now, you know I'm a pretty big fan of putting your foot down and not joining all your clients' project management tools to kind of protect your own time. However, if they are really struggling to give you the information they need because they are so stretched on time, give them some alternatives. I have found, using Voxer, which is a way that they can send voice memos, to be super helpful. The other thing is if you prefer to get things in written form, you can have those voice memos, transcribed with programs like Otter. So there's tools that can really help you communicate more effectively with these clients who seem to not know what they want. And also, I really want to encourage you because I've seen it happen to my students where they get kind of worked up when a client is really bad at maybe responding or giving them answers to their questions so that they can do their work in the best way possible. Sometimes you just have to make a best educated guess. And I will even leave blanks in my copy saying, I would love to put a personal anecdote here so that we can really connect with the reader. When you have time, feel free to send me a voice memo. Feel free to, type in a little bit of a story here to give me something to work with. So do what you can to really help your clients kind of figure out what the next best step is. I also find that it really helps my clients when I'm reassuring to them that we are always in flux and in a flow and figuring out what works best for us. So if they have ideas of things that will help make their lives easier, I'm always open to hearing that. And this just also makes your relationship a lot more enjoyable when you're, opening the door for more of a conversation. And it also is more fun because you're collaborating, you're sharing ideas. So if you come across a client who just does not know what they want, which happens, see if you can, put your investigative hat on and really figure out what's going on. Are they stretched for time? Have they had a bad experience? Do they just need a little bit more guidance and reassurance? Because I'm willing to bet if you can figure out what is really going on, you're going to be able to help them in the best way possible. So thank you so much for joining me. If you have any comments or would like to share with me any videos you'd want to see in the future, definitely drop them in the comments, hit that thumbs up button, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really love making you guys these videos. Thanks, guys.